Welcome back to Right Fashion Academy YouTube channel for another interesting tutorial on this channel. So today's tutorial we will be working on off-shoulder dress you are seeing on the thumbnail with feathers. Okay, so we are going to sew along this off-shoulder lace fabric with feathers. So now I have my basic bodice pattern which I'm working with. This is my shoulder line on my basic bodice, and this is the center front. So as it stands right now, I've already made my basic bodice pattern. So my basic bodice pattern, here I have the measurement of my chest line. I have the measurement of my bust point, my under bust line, my waistline, and finally my full length. So I'm using the full length of 24 inches, which is standard, and it works for almost everybody for a blouse like this. So now I've already connected the mid shoulder line to the bust point, and I've also taken my bust around. Okay, so I rotated what I have on the bust area all around, that is bust point and under bust all around. So now it's time for us to start off the off shoulder drafting. So to draft this off shoulder, I'm going to determine how off I want my off shoulder to be. Okay, so I'm working with 5 inches. You can also do 4 inches, but 5 inches is absolutely okay for your off shoulder. So I have connected the line, and next I want to do is to use this line to contour my over bust. So here I'm going to come in by 0.75, and here I'm going to come in by 0.75. So I'll place my ruler this way, and I'm going to contour the over bust area for my off shoulder. So this is the over bust area. Okay, so now I'm done contouring this part. That means that all of this I'm going to cut it off. So the next thing I want to do now is to reconnect what I have on my armhole line. So for off shoulders, there's usually a formula, which is your shoulder minus 1.5 or minus 2 inches. But I love to connect from this point. Since we've taken away 1 inch, we've taken away our dart of 1.5. So there won't be any need replacing your dart again. So I'm taking the measurement of my dart to be sure I have the dart at 1.5. okay, so from here now I came in by 0.75, and from here another 0.75. all right, so that is that. So the next thing we want to consider now is the reconnection of the off shoulder sleeve. So my off shoulder sleeve, I'm going to simply reconnect it, since I'm not working by the calculation of the off shoulder. So I'm going to slant my pattern ruler like this, and I'm going to reconnect my off shoulder. Once you connect it that way, you are good to go. So the next thing we want to talk about is the neckline. So the neckline we are working with, you can take your sleeve measurement from your neckline. Okay, so you determine where you want your off shoulder neckline to be. So that means you'll be placing your tape on the neckline, and you just measure where you want it to be. So from the neckline, if I want it at 4 inches, this is 4 inches. From the chest line, I can come up by 2 inches, and it also falls at the 4 inches. So I'll quickly connect. The neckline I have here is somehow a rounded neckline. So I'm going to place my pattern ruler this way and connect my off shoulder neckline. So note that the difference between the bust point is 4 inches, and I have to also consider that so I don't expose the bust. So you can see the bust radius as I'm taking it round. So that means I still have some distance of 1 inch, 1.5, almost 2 inches on the center front, so my bust does not get exposed. So right now we are done with the upper bodies. We want to go over to what we have on the under bust line. So on the under bust line, this is my under bust line. Usually our dart is 1.5, and the waist measurement plus the dart intake have been taken right here. So from the center front, I'm taking what I have on my bust, under bust circumference. Okay, so the under bust circumference I'm working with here is 38 inches. Divide by 4 is 9.5. So this is my 9.5, and I have 1.75. So since I have 1.75, I'm going to impute 0.25 here, and the rest of 1.5 I'm going to impute right here from the outer dart leg. So if I do that, I'm going to position my pattern ruler for my contour line. So this is my contour line, and I'm going to flip my ruler like this again. So once that is done, I'll come in with my ruler once again to the dart on the hem line. So this is the dart on the hem line. So that is that, and we are good to go. Okay, so the next thing we want to do now, because we are done right now, so what I have here is F1, and what I have here is F2. This is my center front, which I'm going to cut unfold. So you might decide to reshape the down part of your blouse if you wish, and if you also don't want, you can work on a straight line like this. So we'll be working on a straight line. We are not reshaping. So I'm done contouring. So the next thing we want to do is to cut off and close up at our bust dart. But I want you to note that what we have here is the waistline. So I'll be taking my waist measurement once again. I have 2 ways I can do this to make sure I don't have shortage on my waist. The line I'm having here, that is the dart line, okay, on the waist. So I'm going to take my waist measurement again. From the center front, I'm going to take the waist. Once I get to the dart, I'll skip the dart and move what I have to the next level, and then I'm going to mark the waist. So this is my waist measurement, the new waist measurement. So on the new waist measurement, I'm going to connect back. So what I practically did here is to be sure I don't have any shortage. So I place my pattern ruler like this, so if you have a hip cord, you can use it. So right here is actually looking funny, but that does not matter. But if you don't want to do this, you can use your, add up your seam allowance. Use 2 inches for your seam allowance. Of course, that is what I'm going to use to make this particular dress. So we are done now. The next thing we want to do is to extend our bust dart lines. So the bust dart lines will be extended from here to here, and from here we'll come out a little bit more, and then we can connect the new bust dart back to the chest line. So right now we have our off shoulder dress. Okay, so this is what the off shoulder dress looks like, and that is how we are going to connect it and all that. Okay, so if you look at this this particular pattern I'm working with, the shape actually looks somehow. Okay, but provided you go by the principle of sewing your off shoulder, you get this right. So like I said, the off shoulder measurement is shoulder measurement minus 1.5 or 2 inches. So shoulder I'm working with here is 7. If I minus 1.5, I'll have 5.5. So if I place my tape here, this is what I will also do. From the center front, I have 4 inches already. I skip, I have another 4 inches. So I can just go ahead and measure my 5.5. Okay. So that is another way, because of the funny shape I have here. So I want to take it this way. 4 inches, I'll skip the dot, another 4 inches, and this is my 5.5. So I can just simply extend this line, because I was looking this line after the dart is cut off. It's actually going to look small because of the shape. So I now have to do an extension. So from here, I'm going to reconnect my armhole. Can you see that? That is my armhole. So if you are doing shoulder is 7 minus 1.5 will give you 5.5. I love to work with 1.5. But if you are working with shoulder, divide by 2 minus 2 inches, it means 5. You have 5 inches. So that means when you are taking your measurement now, you will take from here to here 4 inches, and from here to here 5 inches. So your new connection will be at this point, but I want to use 1.5, which is at this connection. So I've reconnected what I have on the armhole now, and I want to check what I have. Okay, so that is okay and good. Now the next thing I want to note is from this line to this line, I have 4.5. So please take note of this line. You will see what we are going to use it to do for our sleeve. So this is 4 inches from the line we offed, 4.5, sorry. Okay, so we will be using it for our cap heights when it's time to draft our sleeve. So now I'm going to cut out this pattern right away and close up my bust dart. So cutting my pattern now, I'm going to cut my pattern right here, following the sleeve. Okay, then I'll go into the neckline. I'll cut through my center front line. Then I'll cut through the waist line. I'll cut through the sides to accommodate my darts. So once I get here, I'll cut into the dart accommodation. So that is what we have at this point. Okay, so what I have now, I have to be sure I have all my measurements intact. So I'm going to take all my measurements right now from here to here. I'll skip this little dart of 4.5 and measure. Okay, so I have bust 43. So I can, although I have 10.75, so that is okay. Now I'll come over to the waist. I'll measure waist, what I have on my waist. That is my under bust. So waist is 40, divided by 2 is 10. So here, this is what I have. I'll skip the darts and I have 10. Then I'll come to hip 48 and I'll measure, I have 12. So you are good to go. So all I'm going to do is to cut this pattern accordingly, the way I shaped it, to the 1.5, and I'll cut from here